Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming together on this Monday morning for an update for the NeoMed campus. As always, I'd like to start with recognizing some of the great work our team is doing at NeoMed, despite the fact that we are continuing to survive in a pandemic world and all learning how to operate in a little bit more effective manner, despite some of the hardships that we face and some of the barriers that are in our way. First, a big recognition for Dr. Sue Bruce. She's been an amazing member of our team here at NeoMed, and fortunately will continue to be one for the next several months. But for those who don't know, please join me in congratulating her. She has been selected to be the Dean of the College of Pharmacy at Wingate University. It's always sad to lose a great team member, but also wonderful that others are recognizing the leadership that we have in our community, where they can go out and spread the word of the things that we do and really share her great leadership capabilities. So congratulations, Dr. Bruce. I also want to recognize the outstanding performance from our team in the comparative medicine facility and our IACUC. We had our ALAC visit, which is really our big inspection of our programs. And thanks to the great work of Dr. Dana Miller and his team, to include Tricia Sloan, Linda McCourt, and Dr. Rahman, along with the support of Dale Fluch and Jesse Sampedro, really went through this with flying colors. And the inspectors recognized what a great job we are doing with those facilities. So thank you all for that great work. Also, we had a new grantee awarded over the course of the last 2 weeks. Dr. Haruta in psychiatry received a new grant for her work in behavioral health. So thank you for all that you're doing and the great recognition of your work efforts through this grant award. I had a wonderful opportunity to spend a few hours online one evening last week. It was a leadership summit put together by our College of Pharmacy students who are pushing leadership amongst their peers, and invited our College of Medicine students to also participate with them. It was a wonderful evening, and our students really should be congratulated for what a great job they did. They managed to convene a group of leaders in healthcare throughout Ohio who came onto a Zoom format and shared their views on leadership and how we are growing leaders and should be growing leaders in the healthcare space and how we can do it better. It was a really productive evening full of wonderful discussion. So thank you for that team for leading that. And we need to have more of that in what we do here at NeoMed, and we'll be doing so in the future. I also had the opportunity to attend the white coat ceremony for our new P1 students in the College of Pharmacy. An absolutely great event, being able to share those moments with their family members who were able to put their coats on them as they become part of the new healthcare team here at NeoMed. And as always, a big thank you to Dr. Sandra Emmerich and her incredible team, as well as Michael White and his team for being able to pull this off in such a spectacular fashion. They had an outside speaker who was the Dean of the College of Pharmacy at the University of Cincinnati, who gave huge accolades to them on what an amazing job they did, making this a high-touch personal event. A big thank you to our team members who are embracing Lean Six Sigma as a way of being better at what we do. We had 12 individuals from our employee ranks who just finished an official Greenbelt certified training program put on by Sarah Brickley and her team. That is really wonderful that we're able to get a full certification class in process. And we are now starting a new class tomorrow where there will be 24 more of our family members who are going to be engaging in Lean Six Sigma and looking at new ways for us to become more effective and efficient at what we do. So thank you all for that, for the work that you're doing. I promised you that we would finalize a new flexible work plan that would accommodate telework policies and procedures to allow us to really de-densify our campus around COVID, and also at the same time allow employees the opportunities to work from remote locations to complete their job duties. That has been completed, and we are releasing that now to the university. As I stated before, implementation of this will be based on supervisors who are running the individual work centers, as only they have the knowledge to be able to determine who would be able to benefit from this, both for the employee's sake as well as the university. This wouldn't have been possible if it weren't for the great work from our HR team in making this happen so quickly in partnership with our general counsel. I'd really like to thank Takara Bell, Charity Davis, and Amy Fury-Ligon for their work in making this happen, and also Mr. Andre Burton for pushing this forward to get this done. They got this done ahead of time. I gave them a deadline so that it would be ready no later than the first week of September, late in the first week of September, and in fact, they have it accomplished now. It will take some reading for everybody to understand what the requirements are. This is just our very first experience with this, so please bear with us, as this is going to be a learning opportunity, and we will no doubt need to make some adjustments to the policies. But we have a good foundational product through which to begin implementing this program. The key here for us is to follow this to see what impact it's having on our employees, and to ensure that we are still running a strong operation at the university to service our students and to service the other members of the community who would use the workforce who are here. So thank you to all. More to come on this. But we will have this ready for rollout. It's really up to the supervisors to get this moving now. And there will be in-person educational training for the supervisors to help them better understand implementation and tracking. Now for a COVID update. As you know, we've been working really hard to ensure that we have a safe campus, following all the recommended procedures and policies of the CDC and ODH, the state's Office of Health. And we've done a great job. But we know that COVID is in the population. In fact, we are not one of the high outlier counties, but we still have about a 5% rate at any one time where members of the society, when tested, will show that they are positive for the virus. The key is to practice social distancing, face coverings, hand hygiene, symptom reporting. And despite the fact that we have people who are present, we'll continue to run a safe society and a safe university. We knew that eventually we would have somebody on our campus test positive, beyond those that took place when we were in total shutdown. And we know as of this weekend, one of our first-year medical students did become symptomatic and test positive. The Portage County Health District has been working with us and working with the student to do contact tracing. They've been alerting individuals who may or may not have, who may have come in contact or had an exposure from the individual, and they are handling the situation for us. At this time, we have 11 individuals who had been initially identified and asked to go into quarantine. Again, 1 positive student, 2 that are going to be considered presumed positive. They haven't tested positive yet, but they were having some symptoms and had been in contact. We are being very careful to ensure that we control any potential for spread, and working with the health district as well as Joe Zarconi and Zessie Zampedro in our team here on campus that is managing COVID-19. We have made recommendations for ways to ensure continued campus safety and to monitor the situation. Our College of Medicine team stood up to immediately move to virtual classes for our M1 students for at least the next week and potentially the next 2 weeks, depending on follow-on information from the Portage County Health District. Now, the Portage County Health District had learned that we had been following all of the recommended procedures and policies, strict social distancing, face covering, hand hygiene, and symptom reporting in the classroom. They asked the question, can you give us absolute assurance that there was not a breach in any of these policies and procedures that you put in place when the students are outside of the classroom? For instance, break periods or potentially when using the restroom. And of course, we are not actively monitoring those situations as we are in the classroom. But what we had students do is to sign documents indicating they know the procedures that we are required to follow. And we believe for the most part, they are following them. Since we were not able to tell the Portage County Health District that with 100% certainty, we knew there wasn't any breach of this outside of the classroom, they have decided to quarantine approximately 80 students. I feel that this is very aggressive, but again, we are here to follow the law that's been set down by the local authorities. So for the next week, while they determine whether one potential student is positive, we are going to have a quarantine for 80 students. If that student that they are concerned about tests negative, then the quarantine would likely be released. The good news is we know that our curriculum coordinators and our faculty and administrators who are running the M1 course have not been congregating or having a potential for congregating with the students. So the faculty and the coordinators do not need to go into quarantine at this time. If anything were to change, we will let them know immediately. But we feel that we have a safe campus and that this is not only under control, but out of an abundance of caution that we are being excessively conservative to ensure that the campus remains a safe place to be. So big thank you again to Dr. Eugene Moed and to the entire team, curriculum team for the first year curriculum to help us tackle this situation, as many of us were on phone calls and Zoom meetings on Saturday and on Sunday dealing with this situation. At this time, our second year medical students and our first through third year pharmacy students, as well as our graduate students, are not impacted by the situation. An important topic related to COVID-19 is to realize that it's possible to be exposed regardless of what we do, whether you're in a supermarket, if you're at a pharmacy, you're at a gas station, you're out at a park, it's always possible that you can become positive. It's a very low possibility if we follow all the safety protocols. But I ask you to please remember that if somebody is positive, they do us a service by coming forward instead of hiding away, concerned that other people are going to point at them and say that this is a person that's spreading a virus. We need to be understanding. We are a health sciences university. We teach our clinicians they have to have empathy and they need to take care of patients in a manner that is going to be respectful and recognize the dignity of who they are. So there's been a real issue with COVID where somebody who is positive begins to experience shame, and that should never happen. We need to have these individuals feel like they can come forward and be supported with any healthcare they may need, and to help us understand who their contacts may have been so that we can do our best to control this situation. For those who are working with faculty, staff, students, or members of the community during contact tracing, it is absolutely critical that we show them that empathy and that respect. That we know that this was not their fault and people are going to be around them because that's who we are as a society. And it is not their fault that those individuals may eventually get quarantined or test positive. It's all of our duties to follow the safety protocols, to socially distance, to wear the face coverings. If we do this, the risk is exceptionally low. Just like everything else in life, we work to mitigate risk. All of us can get in a car accident driving to the grocery store, driving home. We wear seatbelts. We stay alert. We do everything we can to make the situation safe, but it is never going to be 100% risk-free. So please do not get involved in creating individuals feeling shamed and shameful because they happen to have a virus that any one of us can catch, especially if we are putting ourselves in a position of risk. I ask all of you to be vigilant in following the rules and to be vigilant in calling out anybody who is violating those rules. And remember, 99% of us are not violating those rules intentionally. Occasionally, you bring a face covering down for a moment to take a deep breath, and they may forget to bring it up. They went outside, they took their mask off, and they walk in and accidentally walk in with their mask off. It's our job to call it out so that they know and they can continue to abide by the rules that they were going to follow anyway. If you are absolutely uncomfortable with calling out violations, please know that you can always call the leadership team at the university, the administrators. We will deal with it. And of course, our police department is here for that purpose also. And in fact, following state law, when there are egregious violations, not forgetfulness that we need to remind people about, but egregious violations, the police department will now be issuing citations that carry the full weight and force of the law. This is simply to ensure that we are safe here at the NeoMed community. And I know that all of us are working hard to maintain that safety, and all of us want a safe campus for our students, our faculty, our staff, for ourselves, and for our families when we go home. I'm now going to open it up for questions.
The first question, with the COVID response, what about the students that are exposed to said students via housing?
Yeah, so we have managed that with the Portage County Health District. Right now, everybody is supposed to be following strict protocols at the village, just as you would with any apartment building, and these are indeed apartment buildings. The Portage County Health District has determined that it is completely safe to quarantine in place, even in the 2-bedroom suites. What we've told the students is that stay in your own rooms. If you're in the common area, go into common areas separately, make sure you sanitize in between and wear your face coverings when you're in those areas. And the health district has said that meets the necessary policy to ensure safety. So we feel very comfortable with being able to implement that.
Students are exhibiting repeated disrespect of the rules when it comes to the library for social distancing in common areas. NeoMed faculty and staff seem to be doing all they can to remind students of the rules, but nearly 4 weeks in, this does not seem to be working in spaces like the library where students are congregating and refusing to wear their masks. Are there any additional measures that NeoMed leadership is planning to take to enforce these rules in these common areas?
Yes, so we are having a meeting today at 4 o'clock with a mandatory meeting with all of the students who are here on our campus. And we are going to reinforce that. We think that the fact that the Portage County Health District has come in using the, as again I mentioned before, the full weight and force of the law to mandate quarantine and mandate isolation. This is coming from them, not from us, because they have the legal authority to do so. That this is going to really highlight the fact that they're going to follow these rules. We are also engaged in very frank and productive discussions with our police force. They are now going to get involved in writing citations for these repeat offenders. Those will carry both legal ramifications as well as bringing students and faculty and staff in front of professionalism's committees for any violators on our campus, whether it's one of us or a visitor. We are going to be very firm about our actions going forward. This can be cause for suspension, or this could be cause for a student having to withdraw completely from the university. This is also going to be a cause for reprimand that can carry reprimand anywhere from basic measures to relieving somebody of their position at the university if this is done repeatedly and with intent. If we need to, we will close down the library. We won't make these spaces accessible to the students. We're going to do everything we can within our abilities to ensure that we are following state law and that we are mandating a safe campus through our through the active prosecution of these measures.
What is the university doing in regards to the payroll tax deferral? Can employees opt out and continue to have payroll tax withheld to avoid having to pay it back at a later date?
You know, I have to be honest that I'm not prepared to answer that question, but I will meet with our HR team and I will get that information out to you just as soon as we can. I will do my best not to wait until 2 weeks at my next address, but that we'll get something out physically. I just don't have the information to share.
Are face masks required outside to and from the parking lots and in the courtyard?
No, we are following state law, and that says if you are unable to maintain a 6-foot social distance outside the building, that you are mandated to wear face coverings. On the other hand, if you can maintain a 6-foot or more social distance, it is not required, and that is state law, and that's also the recommendations of the CDC. When you are inside the building, you must have them on unless you are in a private office or an approved private cubicle, or you are eating, actively eating or drinking.
Will HR and PR be coming out with guidance on how to have conversations with community members regarding following social contract guidelines?
Right now, we are asking that if you get any phone calls or questions from community members, that you refer them directly to marketing and communications, and they will handle those conversations. We are not asking in fact, we are discouraging our employees from doing that because we want to make sure that one single unified message is getting out to our external communities. Our students and our faculty and our staff are being referred to the COVID-19 response team led by Dr. Joe Zarconi and Jesse Zampedro.
Can we find the new telecommuting policy?
Pardon me?
Where can we find the new telecommuting policy?
It was just completed and it will be sent out.
There are no more questions at this time.
Well, thank you, everybody. Please understand we have been working diligently, in fact, many hours over the course of this last weekend to ensure that we have a safe campus. In fact, we think we are being ultra conservative with the approach that's being taken currently with the first-year medical student class. That could end early. We are just waiting for the county health department to give us their requirements. So thank you all, and I look forward to meeting with you again in 2 weeks.